Top of the day, beautiful people. Top of the day. Okay. Putting some stuff together. Hold on, y'all. All right, beautiful people. Trina, hey, girl, hey. This Carmex on my lips. I need to open up my new one. Joy, grand rising, shalom, shalom. Auntie, I need a smell. Hey, girl, hey. Audrey, shalom, shalom. All right, beautiful people. Let's get going. Today it is Thursday, January the 13th, 2022, day number 3 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 1021. Today, y'all, we're going to read the next 4 chapters, which is 7, 8, and 9 of Genesis. And then we're going to pick back up in that document that the CIA released in the early 2000s. Shayla, hey, girl, hey. Listen, y'all. My mama sent me she sent me a link to y'all ever seen those documentaries? What's it called? Encounters of the Close Kind. This one is like number 5, Encounters of the Fifth Kind. I think that's what it's called. But it's amazing. I'd never ever watched any of those before because they like come up on like the sci-fi channels and everything. But I found it really interesting. I'll share the link if you haven't seen it, or if you've never watched them. They have like Close Encounters of the First Kind, Second Kind, Third Kind, Fourth Kind, but specifically this one, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, blew my mind. It's actually talking about some of this stuff and a few other letters that the FBI and the CIA released based on some testings that they have had done with these spiritual phenomena, and they actually began to practice it. I'm like, how interesting. And I knew it was the truth. Like some stuff you side eye the government on, but this thing we know for sure because we've personally experienced it. I'm like, bruh, there's like they really putting truth into a lot of this. And they had different people and they was testing different things, even the astral projecting, even to where they began to talk about a little bit. Clearly some of this stuff is declassified now, and it's known how they were spying on China, even stealing some of their intel by astral projecting. I'm like, yo, we was just talking about this, so. But y'all, I'm gonna put that link in there. Y'all, when y'all get a chance, it's about 2 hours long. It's real interesting. The first 30 minutes or so is kind of building up and showing you some events from the past, from like the 50s, and just different things, just trying to build you up, bring you up to date, right? And they give you a quick overview of what was done in Close Encounters of the First through the Fourth Kind. I haven't watched any of those yet, but I think I will, just to kind of take a gander at it. Auntie, hey, Mom, shalom, shalom. But if anything in there that I feel like I should share with y'all, I'll share with you. I don't know when I'm gonna get to them because it's a lot of other things that I'm looking at and I'm testing. I'm trying to keep my results on, but that's something I can safely say. Now here's what I will say. Now, some of the entities or they call them aliens, only aliens because they're not like us, or what they deem to be not like us. And they got like some blurred pictures of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. But I have encountered other beings, although the outline of the beings, most of the time, I will say most of the time, not all the time, because there were some weird shaped ones that I've encountered, even shorter ones, like what we would call midgets. I know that is probably like an improper term, but shorter people, right? Those with their growth has been stunted. I have encountered different sizes, but the figures and the entities that I've always encountered, to me, they resemble like my same form. They could have been bigger, huger. They just, in my encounters, they just differentiated in size for the most part. For the most part. Now, there was some that seemed to have like a little more off shape, but that was even more blurred. I don't know. Maybe my consciousness wouldn't let me see it. I don't know, because maybe it would have freaked me out or something. But I'll share it with you. But it's really interesting. Y'all should check it out. Like I said, and specifically because of the information that it's giving you about the body and how it operates, which they're really going to get into a lot of detail on that about halfway through. And about halfway through, I was like locked in. I was like, bruh, I tried that. That is true. I'm like, I'm 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 flabbergasted that they're putting it out here like in truth. And a lot of people, because of the government and a lot of their shenanigans thus far, everything they just kind of take with a grain of salt and they just, but for those of us who have actually experienced this, it's like, bruh, they like telling you the truth this time. Like they're literally telling you the truth. And they're telling you about the tests and stuff that they did with it as well. Grand Rising, Uncle JB, Uncle Nathaniel, shalom, shalom. Okay, y'all. So let's get to it. I'm gonna share that with you. But let's go ahead and get started so we can get through some more of this document that the CIA released. Okay, y'all. Hold on. Let me pull this up. Nikki, greetings, salutations. Okay. All right, y'all. Remember the Shema, or the call for wholehearted commitment, can be found in Deuteronomy Chapter 6. These are the commands, decrees, and regulations that Yahuwah your God commanded me to teach you. You must obey them in the land you are about to enter and occupy, and you and your children and grandchildren must fear Yahuwah your God as long as you live. If you obey all these decrees and commands, you will enjoy long life. Listen closely, Israel, and be careful to obey. Then all will go well with you, and you will have many children in the land flowing with milk and honey, just as Yahuwah, the God of your ancestors, promised you. Listen, O Israel, Yahuwah, our God, He is God alone. And you must love Yahuwah, your God, with all your heart, all your soul, and all your strength. And you must commit yourselves wholeheartedly to these commands I am giving you today. Repeat them again and again, talking about them when you're at home and when you're on the road, when you're going to bed, and when you're getting up. Tie them to your hands and wear them on your forehead as reminders. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Yahuwah your God will soon bring you into the land he swore to give to you when he made a vow to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It is a land with large, prosperous cities that you did not build. The houses will be richly stocked with goods that you did not produce. You will draw water from cisterns you did not dig, and you will eat from vineyards and olive trees you did not plant. When you have eaten your fill in this land, be careful not to forget Yahuwah, who rescued you from slavery in the land of Egypt. You must fear Yahuwah your God and serve him. When you take an oath, you must only use his name. You must not worship any of the gods of the neighboring nations, for the Lord your God, who lives among you, is a jealous God. His anger will flare up against you, and he will wipe you from the face of the earth. You must not test Yahuwah your God as you did when you complained at Massa. You must diligently obey the commands of Yahuwah your God, all the laws and decrees he has given you. Do what is right and good in Yahuwah's sight, so all will go well with you. Then you will enter and occupy the good land that Yahuwah swore to give to your ancestors. You will drive out all the enemies living in the land, just as Yahuwah said you would. In the future, your children will ask you, what is the meaning of these laws, decrees, and regulations that Yahuwah our God has commanded us to obey? Then you must tell them, we were Pharaoh's slaves in Egypt, but Yahuwah our God brought us out of Egypt with his strong hand. He did miraculous signs and wonders before our eyes, dealing terrifying blows against Egypt, Pharaoh, and all his people. He brought us out of Egypt so he could give us this land he had sworn to give to our ancestors. And Yahuwah our God commanded us to obey all these decrees and to fear him so that he can continue to bless us and preserve our lives as he has done to this day. For we will be counted as righteous when we obey all the commands that Yahuwah our God has given unto us. All right, beautiful people. So let's get started. All right, y'all. Genesis chapter 7. The flood covers the earth. When everything was ready, Yahuwah said to Noah, "Go into the boat with all your family, for among all the people of the earth, I can see that you alone are righteous. Take with you 7 pairs, male and female, of each animal I have approved for eating and for sacrifice." This part was added. "And take 1 pair of each of the others. Also, take 7 pairs of every kind of bird. There must be male and female in each pair to ensure that all life will survive on the earth after the flood. 7 days from now, I will make the rains pour down on the earth, and it will rain for 40 days and 40 nights until I have wiped them from the earth, all the living things I have created." So Noah did everything as Yahuwah commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood covered the earth. He went on board the boat to escape the flood, he and his wife and his sons and their wives. With them were all the various kinds of animals, those approved for eating and for sacrifice, and those that were not, along with all the birds and the small animals that scurry along the ground. They entered the boat in pairs, male and female, just as God had commanded Noah. After 7 days, the waters of the flood came and covered the earth. When Noah was 600 years old, on the 17th day of the 7th of the 2nd month, all the underground waters erupted from the earth, and the rain fell in mighty torrents from the sky. The rain continued to fall for 40 days and 40 nights. And y'all can see the bigger story in Jasher, and you can also find some of it in the Legends of the Jews, not Wars of the Jews, Legends of the Jews. Those are 2 separate, totally different things. That very day, Noah had gone into the boat with his wife and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives. With them in the boat were pairs of every kind of animal, domestic and wild, large and small, along with every kind of bird. 2 by 2, they came into the boat, representing every living thing that breathes. A male and female of each kind entered just as God commanded Noah. Then the Lord closed the door behind them. For 40 days, the flood waters grew deeper, covering the ground and lifting the boat high above the earth. As the waters rose higher and higher above the ground, the boat floated safely on the surface. Finally, the water covered even the highest mountains on the earth, rising more than 22 feet above the highest peaks. All the living things on the earth died: birds, domestic animals, wild animals, small animals that scurry along the ground, and all the people. Everything that breathed and lived on dry land died. God wiped out every living thing on the earth: people, livestock, small animals that scurry along the ground, and the birds of the sky. All were destroyed. The only people who survived were Noah and those with him in the boat. And the flood waters covered the earth for 150 days. Genesis chapter 8. The flood recedes. But Yah remembered Noah and all the wild animals and livestock with him in a boat. He sent a wind to blow across the earth, and the flood waters began to recede. The underground water stopped flowing, and the torrential rains from the sky were stopped. So the flood waters gradually receded from the earth. After 150 days, exactly 5 months from the time the flood began, the boat came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. 2.5 months later, as the water continued to go down, other mountain peaks became visible. After another 40 days, Noah opened the window he had made in the boat and released a raven. The bird flew back and forth until the flood waters on the earth had dried up. He also released a dove to see if the water had receded and it could find dry ground. But the dove could find no place to land because the water still covered the ground. So it returned to the boat, and Noah held out his hand and drew back the dove inside. After waiting another 7 days, Noah released the dove again. This time, the dove returned to him in the evening with a fresh olive leaf in its beak. Then Noah knew that the flood waters were almost gone. He waited another 7 days and then released the dove again. This time it did not come back. Noah was now 601 years old. On the first day of the new year, 10 and a half months after the flood began, The flood waters had almost dried up from the earth. Noah lifted back the covering of the boat and saw that the surface of the ground was drying. 2 more months went by, and at last the earth was dry. Then God said to Noah, "Leave the boat, all of you, you and your wife, and your sons and their wives. Release all the animals, the birds, the livestock, and the small animals that scurry along the ground, so they can be fruitful and multiply throughout the earth." So Noah, his wife, his sons, and their wives left the boat, and all of the large and small animals and birds came out of the boat, pair by pair. Then Noah built an altar to Yahuwah, and there he sacrificed as burnt offerings the animals and birds that had been approved for that purpose. And the Lord was pleased with the aroma of the sacrifice and said to himself, "I will never again curse the ground because of the human race, even though everything they think or imagine is bent toward evil from childhood. I will never again destroy all living things. As long as the earth remains, there will be planting and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night." Last chapter for today, Genesis chapter 9. God confirms his covenant. Then God blessed Noah and his sons and told them, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth. All the animals of the earth, all the birds of the sky, all the small animals that scurry along the ground, and all the fish in the sea will look on you with fear and terror. I have placed them in your power. I have given them," I don't like the way this translated, this because it's translated wrong, where it says, "I have given them to you for food, just as I have given you grain and vegetables, but you must never eat any meat that still has the lifeblood in it." That wasn't in original scrolls. It absolutely wasn't. It was added there. "And I will require," and it's what it said is that the animals would be meats for you, not meats, meat, but meat, mete, meaning they can be of useful service to you while you're here. And we kind of talked about that a little bit the other day. Like they used animals to help carry. They were like pack animals and stuff to help carry different things, help with the tilling of the fields and stuff that they had. Those type of things, those were the useful things, the meat things that they were unto us, not as food, right? And we can test that principle still today, because when you eat meat, it will clog your arteries and you will live a shorter life than what you would had you not started consuming animal flesh. That's scientifically proven today. People still want to fight it. Hey, do as thou wilt. "And I will require the blood of anyone who takes another person's life. If a wild animal kills a person, it must die. And anyone who murders a fellow human must die. If anyone takes a human life, that person's life will also be taken by human hands. For God made humans in his own image. Now be fruitful and multiply and repopulate the earth." Then God told Noah and his sons, "I hereby confirm my covenant with you and your descendants, and with all the animals that were on the boat with you, the birds, the livestock, and all the wild animals, every living creature on earth. I am confirming my covenant with you. Never again will flood waters kill all living creatures. Never again will a flood destroy the earth." Then God said, "I'm giving you a sign of my covenant. I am giving you a sign of my covenant with you and with all living creatures and for all generations to come. I have placed my rainbow in the clouds. It is a sign of my covenant with you and with all the earth. When I send clouds over the earth, the rainbow will appear in the clouds, and I will remember my covenant with you and with all living creatures. Never again will the flood waters destroy all life. When I see the rainbow in the clouds, I will remember my eternal covenant between God and every living creature on the earth." Then God said to Noah, "Yes, this rainbow is the sign of the covenant I am confirming with all the creatures of the earth." We'll get into that a little bit as we go along. Noah's sons. The sons of Noah who came out of the boat with their father were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham is the father of Canaan. From these three sons of Noah came all the people who now populate the earth. After the flood, Noah began to cultivate the ground, and he planted a vineyard. One day he drank some wine he had made, and he became drunk and lay naked inside his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw that his father was naked, and went outside and told his brothers. Then Shem and Japheth took a robe, held it over their shoulders, and backed into the tent to cover their father. As they did this, they looked the other way so they wouldn't see him naked. When Noah woke up from his stupor, he learned what Ham, his youngest son, had done. And then he cursed Canaan, the son of Ham. May Canaan be cursed. May he be the lowest of servants to his relatives. Then Noah said, May the Lord, the God of Shem, be blessed, and may Canaan be his servant. May God expand the territory of Japheth. May Japheth share the prosperity of Shem, and may Canaan be his servant. Noah lived another 350 years after the great flood. He lived 950 years and then he died. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today. I think last time we kind of went over this part and what his son actually did to him. He actually caused him not to be able to have any more children, right? That's what happened while Noah was drunk. Okay. So also, I don't think they came in yet, but there is somebody that comes in. I think they were timed out by mistake yesterday. It's their name up here is Yahuwah is one, and I restored their comment. So be careful. It's normally it's a group of them there, and they normally ask questions, so they're okay. They haven't done anything to be timed out or to be uh, put on restriction in the chat section. So when they ask a question, they are approved by me to have their comments left. All right. That was for my moderators with the wrenches. I think somebody did it by mistake yesterday. I saw it. But the question that they had asked that was timed out, Levine, blessings. They were asking, I think I actually, because somebody else asked the question as well, but I did answer it. They were asking, when is the new year? And I kind of explained yesterday that the new year begins in springtime, right? And I kind of went through the cycles real quick: spring, summer, fall, winter, as it correlates to the life of humans. We are born into this life during the springtime, or the springtime of our lives, and we grow and develop. Adolescence, young teenage years is like the summer. Then you have like young adulthood and stuff, and that's considered like the fall. And then you got the older ages of life, which would be considered the winter days of our life, you know. So but they are approved. Y'all can leave their comments alone. Ali, shalom, shalom. Shalom is so fun to say. Okay, y'all. I opened up the wrong thing. That's not where I saying this at. Okay. Let's go back to the C.I.A. document. Okay, so we paused yesterday after we read number 5, the gateway and Hemi-Sync. So the next one we're reading is the lamp versus laser. Okay. Melissa Jagger uses a metaphor to help clarify the process involved in the use of Hemi-Sync in the gateway experience. Remember, they call it this gateway experience is actually meditation and what happens, the astral projecting and everything. That's what they're testing. This is the experience. This is the project, the gateway experience project, right? So they're testing what these bodies can do via the avenue of meditation, right? Okay. Melissa Jagger uses a metaphor to help clarify the process involved in the use of Hemi-Sync in the gateway experience. She points out that the human mind in its natural state may be likened to an ordinary lamp which expends energy in the form of both heat and light, but in a chaotic, incoherent way, which diffuses its energy over a wide area of rather limited depth. On the other hand, the human mind, under the discipline of Hemi-Sync, acts after the fashion of a laser beam, which produces a disciplined stream of light. The stream of energy is projected with total coherence of both frequency and amplitude, such that the surface area of the laser beam contains billions of times the concentrated energy found in a similar surface area on the sun. Gateway assumes that once the frequency and amplitude of the human brain are rendered coherent, it is possible to begin accelerating both so that the human mind is soon resonating at ever higher vibrational levels. The mind can then bring itself into synchronization with more sophisticated and rarefied energy levels in the universe. The mind, when operating at these increasingly rarefied levels, is assumed to be capable of processing the information thus received through the same fundamental matrix by which it makes sense of the ordinary physical sensory input to achieve meaning in a cognitive context. Such meaning is usually perceived visually in the form of symbols, but may also be perceived as astonishing flashes of holistic intuition, or even in the form of scenarios involving both visual and aural perception, or like auras, aural, yeah, aural. Your or it comes from aura. Right, okay. Shalom. Okay. You're welcome. You who is one. Okay, so my people with the wrenches, just take a look down real quick. The last comment over here in the chat box. You who is one, they are approved. Don't delete them by mistake, y'all. I approved them in the chat box. They ain't up to shenanigans. So I think, like I said, I think it was done by mistake yesterday. Okay, but I came in and I took them out of timeout as soon as I saw it. Okay, let me find my place back in here. Okay, let me read the last sentence again. Such meaning is usually perceived visually in the form of symbols, but may also be perceived as astonishing flashes of holistic intuition, or even in the form of scenarios involving both visual and aural perception. The mechanics by which the mind exercises the consciousness function will be addressed in more detail later in this paper. Number 7 is frequency following response. To achieve synchronization of the brain hemispheres, the Hemi-Sync technique takes advantage of a phenomenon known as the frequency following response, FFR, which means that if a subject hears a sound produced at a frequency which emulates one of those associated with the operation of the human brain, the brain will try to mimic the same frequency pattern by adjusting its brainwave output. And if you get what the Hemi-Sync was, just kind of go back to number... No, it's not a number. It's explained in what it is. Hold on. Let me see, where was it explained at? Oh, it is. I'm sorry. Number 5, gateway and Hemi-Sync. That's where it's found. Just kind of go back to number 5 just to refresh yourself on the Hemi-Sync. Okay. Let me see. Let's look at something. Okay, let me just read it real quick. It says the Hemi-Sync technique, which is defined in a monograph by Monroe Institute trainer Melissa Jagger as a state of consciousness defined when the EEG patterns of both hemispheres, right and left hemisphere, are simultaneously equal in amplitude and frequency. Although Hemi-Sync seems to be rather rare and of only short duration in ordinary human consciousness, Melissa Jagger states that audio techniques developed by Bob Monroe can induce and sustain Hemi-Sync with the Institute's basic Focus 3 tapes. She also notes that studies conducted by Elmer and Alice Green at the Miniger Foundation have shown that the subject with 20 years of training in Zen meditation could consistently establish Hemi-Sync at will, sustaining it for over 15 minutes. Dr. Stuart Timlow, a psychiatrist and a research associate of the Monroe Institute, reports that in our studies of the effect of the Monroe tape system on brain waves, we have found that the tapes encourage the focusing of the brain energy. It can be measured as with a light bulb in watts into a and narrower frequency band. This focusing of energy is not unlike the yoga concept of one pointedness, which we may translate in Western terms as single mindedness, right? And then he says, Dr. Timlow goes on to observe that as the individual gets into the tapes beyond focus 3, there is a gradual increase in brain wave size, which is a measure of brain energy or power. And that's yesterday when we began to talk about the binaural beats, right? See, Hemi fam, Ki Muntu Kikuyu Star 87. Hey, my Kikuyu people. All right. Okay, let me go back. Let me not get sidetracked. Okay, so when it's talking about the Hemi-Sync, just remember they're talking about being able to amplify what you're doing in your meditation by using binaural beats. Like the brain will begin to respond a whole lot faster. Okay. All right. Let me go back up here. We're in the frequency following response to number 7. Let me find my spot. Let me just start it over. Frequency following response. To achieve synchronization of the brain hemispheres, the Hemi-Sync technique takes advantage of a phenomenon known as the frequency following response, FFR, which means that if a subject hears a sound produced at a frequency which emulates one of those associated with the operation of the human brain, the brain will try to mimic the same frequency pattern by adjusting its brain output. Therefore, if the subject is in a fully awake state but hears sound frequencies which approximate brainwave output at the theta level, the subject's brain will endeavor to alter its brainwave pattern from the normal beta to the theta level. Since the theta level is associated with sleep, the subject concerned may progress from a fully awake to a sleep state, provided that he does not consciously resist, as the brain strives to entrain its wave frequency output with the one which the person hears. Right. So remember, I told y'all when I was practicing, I gave y'all the example yesterday of what was happening. I was like, I experienced like the deep meditational state, and I was using it. I wouldn't classify it as binaural beats, but it was more of like sounds of not sounds of nature. It was more like the what they call primordial sounds. Remember when we talked about primordial sounds? You hear it a lot in India's teachings, like om, aim, and even they have a sound associated with each chakra point or organ, lam, ram, vam. And when you get to the crown chakra, there's silence, right? Because by the time you get here, you would probably be connected to the source or to Yah or to power. And that's where like the real downloads happen. When you get to the crown, not the crown chakra, when you get to the third eye chakra, right here, you will the sound, I think the sound is like om or right? When you get here, and here is where your eyes open, where you can begin to see in the spiritual realms, and you can get downloads there. But the real downloads happen when you make it up here to the crown chakra, when you connect to source and you're quiet. You're completely quiet, right? It's like they teach you in church, like you hear that quiet voice of God when you're able to quiet yourself down. Once you begin to understand, you begin to see how each religion actually teaches you about this. They just use their words, but when you get there, you're not making a sound because you're already in tune with the frequency of heaven or the frequency of the correct creator or the frequency of the great spirit or the greater conscious or the all, the overall consciousness, the one, right? And there you can begin to receive downloads and the information. And when people get there, They come out, when they open their mouth, they got some of the best wisdom. They got some of the best wisdom. Like, where did you learn that at? Like, we didn't find, Yesa, what's going on? Shalom, shalom. And a lot of that stuff we don't get in the Hebrew text. That comes directly from source, Yesa. It comes directly from Yah, right? And there are just some things that aren't written. It has to be experienced. And that's what we're trying to get our people to. Guys, we got enough book knowledge. We learned about everybody. We learned about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They healed them all. What did they do to get to where they were at? That's what we need to know. And that's what we're doing. What did they do? We need to know what they do, and we need to begin to do what they did and not just sit around and kick the willy bobo about them and what happened to him. That ain't helping us. That is not helping us. Okay. Yes, Seth, I love you, bro. Okay, hold on. Let me find my spot. Okay. I'm gonna go back up one. Okay. Since the theta level is associated with sleep, the subject concerned may progress from a fully awake to a sleep state, provided that he does not consciously resist, as the brain strives to entrain its wave frequency output with the one which the person hears. Since these brain wave frequencies are outside the spectrum of sounds which can be heard in pure form by the human ear, Hemi-Sync must produce them based on another phenomenon known as the brain's capacity for deducing beat frequencies. If the human brain is exposed to one frequency in the left ear, which is at 10 hertz below another audible frequency played in the right ear, rather than hearing either of the two audible frequencies, the brain chooses to hear the difference between them, the beat frequency, thus availing itself of the FFR phenomenon. Remember, FFR stands for frequency following response. Thus availing itself of the FFR phenomenon and using the technique of beat frequencies, the gateway system uses Hemi-Sync and other audio techniques employing the FFR phenomena to introduce a variety of frequencies which are played at a virtually subliminal, marginally audible level. So remember yesterday we talked about when we was going over the hypnosis portion of it. See, Emmy blessed and healthy. Yes, Sam. So remember, we was talking about it was explaining to us about the left brain and the right brain, and how the left brain is like the gatekeeper, it's like the guard, and whatever that the left brain lets get past it, it passes right into the right brain. The right brain doesn't do any more investigation on what just got there. It just automatically takes what was passed from the left brain to it, and it begins those operations. Like the example it used, say that the left brain got the signal that your left leg is numb. If that thought gets through to the right side of your brain, the right brain is not going to ask any questions. It's like the messenger came through. All right, here's the orders. Left leg is numb. The right brain will take those orders and will go push the buttons in your brain that causes the left leg to go numb, right? It doesn't question what comes from the left side of the brain. And the left side of the brain is what is hypnotized. They use it to hypnotize us with movies, and that's how subliminal messages are passed along, and we begin to live in this state of mind that somebody else has, unknowns to us, has programmed us with, and we begin to act on those things that were subliminally passed to our right brain. They hypnotize the guard on watch on the left side of the brain. That part, like, wait a minute, hold on, what? Cut that music off. Like, you go, like in church, you can, if you've been in church and they playing, the music and the organ, and you got a good singer up there, and somebody know how to string words together in a sentence and call down fire from heaven, so to speak, and they preaching and they get you up on your emotions, that's hypnotizing your guard on watch. That's how people began to empty out their pockets, because they were able to get through your guard on watch and go right into the right side of the brain. Take all your money up to the altar, give it to them, give them everything. Okay, okay, give them everything. Empty out your front pockets, your left pockets, go to your bank account, send a pastor cash out. You know that bonus you just got? Give it all to the church. The guard on the right side is just following orders. And it's following orders. You're doing crazy stuff because the guard on watch on the left side of the brain is the trusted person. We trust the guard on watch because it's a good watch standard, unless he's been hypnotized. Then in his hypnotized state, either he gonna come over and give the orders, or orders are just gonna flow through past him while he's busy. Oh, nah, nah, nah. You're hypnotized, right? And things are getting through the right brain, right? And you're doing craziness. People are killing themselves. They got emotions all over the place. They don't know how it got there. I've seen, we don't talk about it, but I've noticed something early on. I'm trying to figure out what it was, and I noticed it with younger kids in this neighborhood we used to stay at. They became infatuated with SpongeBob, right? And for SpongeBob lovers, if there are any here, no offense, but I began to notice something at this time. I couldn't quite actually understand it, but there are subliminal messages in SpongeBob that, in terms, confuses the identity of children. And I began to see the little boys twisting and acting like girls. They out there. I'm like, wait, hold on. They began to wear all their parents was buying them all this SpongeBob paraphernalia. I was like, absolutely not. I caught it immediately. And although I didn't understand what was going on, I knew SpongeBob wasn't right. And whatever it was that they was passing through in them cartoons, and I looked at it a couple times, like, it seems innocent. But the more I began to really look into it and look at the creators of it and different things, yes, it is banned. And everybody in here know that, turn from that. We ain't supposed to watch that. That'll have you doing some stuff that you ain't supposed to be doing. Like, my little children know that. I drilled that into them. Like, I watch a lot of cartoons myself, but there are certain ones we just absolutely stay away from because of the subliminal messages, the very powerful and effective subliminal messages that certain particular cartoons get down deep into your children's shanana, and it almost changes them overnight. And and I've seen some of these kids today, and they're still trapped in a lifestyle that they don't even know how to get into. Subliminal messages. Somebody hypnotized the guard on watch in the left brain and got through to the right brain, and they don't even know how they got there. I'm like, holy crap. Okay. Let me go back. Hold on. Okay. If the human brain is exposed to one of the frequencies in the left ear, which is at 10 hertz, below another audible frequency played in the right ear, rather than hearing either of the two audible frequencies, the brain chooses to hear the difference between them, the beat frequency, thus availing itself of the FFR phenomenon and using the technique of beat frequencies. The gateway system uses Hemi-Sync and other audio techniques employing the FFR phenomenon to induce a variety of frequencies which are played at a virtually subliminal, marginally audible level. The objective is to relax the left hemisphere of the brain, right? Hypnotize the guard on watch. The objective is to relax the left hemisphere of the brain, place the physical body in a virtual sleep state, and bring the left and the right hemispheres into coherence under conditions designed to promote the production of ever higher amplitude and frequency of brainwave output. This is the Hemi-Sync, where you're syncing them together, and you're not necessarily trying to pass bad information to the right side. You're trying to get them to sync up, right? so that way you can use more of your brain, more of your brain power. This is where your geniuses come in, because they learned how to do this. Or they may not have technically learned how to do it by going to school, but they could have been born in a family with parents that know, and it's just automatically that's their way of life, and they train them to do it, and they just by default produce geniuses, right? So we need to notice, y'all. This is wisdom, ancient wisdom that has been lost to us for so many years. And once we get it, we'll stop running around here acting crazy. Everybody fighting all over social media, arguing about different messiahs and all this craziness. And can we eat chicken or can we not eat chicken? Audible and perhaps subliminal suggestions by Bob Monroe accompany the various brainwave frequencies, which are sometimes rolled in together with other sounds, such as sea surf, to mask the sound frequencies where desirable. In this way, Gateway endeavors to provide the subject with the tools by which he may alter his consciousness based on his own volition over time through the repetitive use of tapes, so as to access via intuitive means new categories of information not available to ordinary conscious. So it says that instead of allowing somebody else to hypnotize you, so to speak, you can learn how your body operates scientifically. And just think about it, y'all. We do it all the time. We do it all the time, right? Yes, if we do it all the time, right? So think about when you're listening to music and stuff. You a lot of times people don't have to come in and just hypnotize us or set up sessions. They taught us to hypnotize ourselves without hypnotizing ourselves, right? When we want to feel a certain way, we put on a certain type of music. When we want to be more productive, we do certain type of things. We're able to hypnotize ourselves, so to speak, to get our own self worked up and in the zone to do what it is we need to do. You're just not using the medical terms and the scientific terms that they're doing and testing and proving these principles to be true, right? Okay. In this way, Gateway endeavors to provide the subject with tools by which he may alter his consciousness based on his own volition over time through the repetitive use of the tapes, or we using CDs and Apple and what we have now to listen to music and to download the things like binaural beats. Different people create them. Different people understand frequencies and how frequencies change the body, change the water, everything that flows through our body. They understand that. And some people make music on purpose. Understand, like my cousin is one that he started looking into it, and a lot of his music, he changes the frequency in his music, and it literally changes what happens in your body. It's a calming. Or they have like the love frequency, or they even got ones for like wealth frequency, which is more of like a getting yourself into the zone to be productive of whatever. It's actually changing the vibrations in your body and the waves in your mind to get it to focus on that particular thing, and it produces results, scientifically proven, right? They don't have to be in anybody's scriptures, because that is scientifically proven, and not just with one set of people or one religious faction. Every single human being on the face of the planet, inside of every single one of you. That's science. That's real truth. That's real truth, right? Okay. In this way, Gateway endeavors to provide the subject with the tools by which he may alter his consciousness based on his own volition over time through the repetitive use of the tapes, so as to access via intuitive means new categories of information not available to the ordinary conscious. A lot of people that don't even just take time to pray or get into meditation, they, let me not say that. I'll be nice. I'll say it this way. They're a little less spiritual than those who do, right? Though those ones that don't, they're really stuck in like this rigid way of living, so to speak. We got to do it this way, we got to do it this way, we got to do it this way. Like there is no freedom for them there, right? The freedom is only found in understanding and actually connecting to the source of Yah. And then you will realize that all the understand this with the proper mindset, all the gates and boundaries and stuff that are set, they're only there for those who don't understand. I.e., different things as we're growing up. Different things our parents teach us to do. No, don't cook on the stove. You might get burnt. At different ages, you got different types of rules that apply to you. You can look at it in each different religion as well if you understand some of the rules and regulations that they put out there. Even if you want to look at the community rules for those reading the Torah, right? Don't do this. Don't do this. Make sure you pay your people on time. All these things, right? Those lines, those borders, those doors are there for those who really don't have understanding and need guidance and help to kind of get through unscathed, right? But those who understand why those borders are there and who understand that there is more freedom to life than just these rules and stuff. Get what I'm saying? We're even our parents coming into this world, we have parents, right? Those who we're born to that kind of hold a thumb over us, that hold the rule over us until we've come to a certain age, or we get to the age of accountability, the age of understanding, right? To where we realize, oh, these borders were there for my safety while I was ignorant. So I went and burned myself, burned my parents' house down, and burned all us in the process, right? These borders are there for protection. But as you get older, those borders are still there and we can see those borders, but we can operate freely outside of those borders, inside of the borders if we choose to, because we've learned how and why they're there, how we should operate, why they're there. And they're not hindrances to us. And this is where we're going. We're trying to get Israel to see it's time to grow up, right? Yes, there are things that we should and we shouldn't be doing. But as you get older, it's like common sense. As we begin to grow in love, these things we won't violate anyway, right? So you don't have to constantly lay out laws, because the law of love perfects that which is in you, and you're not going to do certain things anyway. So you don't have to keep rattling off laws and putting those who are mature within boundaries and stuff, because they are truly led by love, right? And these type of things you don't even have to talk to them about, because they're not going to do that anyway. And that's what people not understand. It's like, stick to the law. I was like, okay, we get that. And for a period of time, you are under a tutor. You are with your parents. But at a certain time in life, at a certain time in growth, it's time to leave the nest, baby. Get out there and fly where there are no boundaries. But the boundaries that we set for you here have taught you what to look out for when you get out there and there are no boundaries holding you in. When you can truly do as thou wilt, your internal teaching, your home training, the boundaries that we taught you about, you'll begin to recognize them. And by default, you should stay away from things that will kill you in the first place, right? So that's what we're trying to get people to see. And it's like they don't want to leave the nest, right? Yah is waiting for us. Like, well, Darren, I've been waiting for you for years. Ain't we been waiting for them? Come on, let's get on with the getting on. Okay. But everybody want to stay inside the church. We're going to stay right here. Moses, you go and talk to him. Tell us what he said and we will do and we will obey, right? When Yah said, I want to talk to you all, right? But because it was like, yeah, no, bro, we might die if we see you face to face. Let Moses do it. So what? Now we got to stay in the house. We got to live by the rules of mom and daddy. You 45 years old and they're getting hollered at by your mom and daddy for drinking up their Kool-Aid. You better go shop and buy your own food. You need to get out here and go get your own house. Get out of here. What's wrong with you? That's what Israel is doing right now. I'm just be honest about that. Yo, look, okay. So let me finish this. Okay. I'll read this last sentence again. In this way, Gateway endeavors to provide the subject with the tools by which he may alter his consciousness based on his own volition over time through the repetitive use of the tapes, so as to access via intuitive means new categories of information not available to the ordinary conscious, right? And so remember, y'all, just in case you weren't here earlier when we first started reading this yesterday, this is a document that was released by the CIA in the early 2000s as they began to test some of these principles. We'll say these principles of nature that is within every single human being, right? And what they realized is what we've been talking about for like the last year, that they found this prevalent in all the religions. And they did like this whole little cover letter that we read first before we actually got into the research. They said, we're going to have to remove the dogma that the different religions put around this and give you the truth of what actually is, right? That's what science does. Science proves the truth. Science now is beginning to prove things that we already know that Yah said, but we just kind of move and believe by faith. They're going another step, right? And they should do that. Scientists get a bad rap, but they get that intuitiveness, that research spirit from the great scientist himself, right? It would take a genius scientist to create something like this habitat that we live in, these bodies that he created us and put our spirits in. It would take a great scientist, right? It's up to us to it. I'm thinking about the scripture. It's the glory of Yah to conceal a matter, and the glory of kings to, what is it? It's in Proverbs. It's the glory of Yah to conceal a matter, and I know they didn't use glory two times. It was another word, and the glory of kings pretty much to begin to understand what was that Yah had hid. I'm screwing that scripture all up. I know it, but Yah hides things for us to find it. Right? We got to go in and understand it, because when we take responsibility for a certain thing, we learn more, right? A lot of times he don't just give us stuff, right? Even with things, y'all hear me saying, I'm like, when y'all reveal stuff to me, it's almost like a friggin' scavenger hunt. Why? Because you begin to own it, you get more into it, and you begin to understand it, and you begin to see it from the different angles. That's what learning really comes in at. That's what true learning and understanding happens in the process of the experience, not just somebody sitting talking to you, telling you all the time. We should have the biggest heads ever, full of all kinds of information, but who's ready to test? That's why I'm like, quit talking, let's test. We're gonna test what you're saying, see if these things be true. We're gonna be like the Bereans, like the New Testament called. We're gonna be like the Bereans. We're gonna test and see if these things that you're telling us be true, right? Okay, y'all. Let me get back to it. Yeah, we're on number 8 of the document. And if you're using the electronic version, if you didn't print it out, it is. Thank you, Audrey, on page 8. Somebody put the link for the document in there if you got it. Post it on both places. Yes, thank you, Dana. Privilege. It's the glory of Yah to conceal a matter, and the privilege of kings to discover them. Yo, this is such a privilege to begin to understand these bodies we've been living with all these years. I'm about to be 43 years old, just learning how my body is really designed to operate. Been operating on things, spiritual gifts, by ignorant default. Now I'm learning that there is a very specific process. Yes, Proverbs 25:2. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Joy. Right? Okay. Let me get back. I begin so excited, y'all. We're trying to take all the spookiness out of everything that religion has taught us, whether it's the church or you come out the church and go right into the Hebrew nation, the Hebrew Israelites. They still a little bit spooky, a little bit ignorant. Some places are like ignorant. That's no discredit or disrespect to anybody. Ignorant in meaning that you really don't understand, because they still haven't let go a lot of the stuff that the left brain has passed to the right brain while you was in the church house, right? And you got church house folks, people teaching you stuff all backwards and upside down. Okay, number 8, role of resonance. However, brain coherence through hold on, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I didn't finish saying what I was saying. This is a document that they released based on all the tests that they have done, showing that there is a spiritual realm, so to speak, and you can actually tap into it, so to speak, and it's there where massive growth begins to happen for you. Anybody, and they don't just single it out to different religions or factions. They took people from every different type of walk of life and they tested this and they said this is where real growth happens. And they realized that that growth or what you saw in that spiritual realm, or when you tap in, whether it's through astral projecting, or in the church you'll call it having an out of body experience or open vision, they realize that that growth is almost immediate, permanent, and it causes your consciousness and your spirit to develop in like 1,000 times faster than those who don't learn how to use their body, right? Actually get in there in the spirit and grow, pray and meditate, right? You're not really engaging in the process to whereby, and you can tell people that get in there and do, it's like, bruh, where's you learning that? Where, tell me how to get, where do you, I want to come, right? Okay. So that's why this document, it's been declassified and put out there in the public. These are tests and studies that they did. They was doing this in the 80s, but they had already been looking into it in like the 50s and stuff. Remember, because that's how they got intel from other nations and stuff. They actually did this, doing astral projecting, stealing secrets from other nations, China, Russia, all these other places. Yes, that's the true deception. Dana, that is the true deception. And got everybody looking outwards, looking outward for the Messiah. And you're not going to find him out there. New Testament tell you, we're most familiar with this, the kingdom of heaven is within you, right? It's all there, plain as day, all the time, right? It's within you. You have to go within to go up. I.e., my son, remember I told you about my son Isaiah? He walked into the kitchen a few months back. I was telling you about that experience, just freaking blew my mind. He walked in here, my 7-year-old son, still 7, walked in here right after I got done with my video, and he said, Mom, he said, people think that heaven is up there, but heaven is really in here. I said, well, what you say? He said, people think that heaven is up there, but heaven is really in here. And then turned around and walks out the kitchen. I'm like, I got up. I went and stood in that place where he was at. I'm like, boy. I'm like, where did you get that from? It just came to me. And he just go off playing again, doing what 7-year-olds do. Okay, now we get into the science of this, and we got testable stuff we can test. Y'all bring y'all results and stuff. We're going to share it here. We're going to share it here. Tony J, shalom, bro, shalom. Look, okay. Number 8, role of resonance. However, brain coherence through entertainment to beat frequencies introduced via stereo headphones is only part of the reason why the gateway system works. It is also designed to achieve the physical quietude characteristic of deep transcendental meditative states, which bring about a complete alteration of the fundamental resonance pattern associated with the sound frequencies produced by the human body. Yoga, Zen, or transcendental meditation, if practiced long enough, will produce a change in the sound frequency with which the human heart resonates throughout the entire body. According to Bentov, Bentov, this was a scientist we learned about yesterday. According to Bentov, this change in resonance results from the elimination of what the medical profession calls the bifurcation. The bifurcation echo is spelled Bifurcation. According to Bentov, this change in resonance results from elimination of what the medical profession calls the bifurcation echo, so that the sound of the heartbeat can move synchronously up and down the circulatory system in harmonious resonance approximately 7 times a second. Bentov describes the role played by the bifurcation echo as follows. When the left ventricle of the heart ejects blood. The aorta, being elastic, balloons out just beyond the valve and causes a pressure pulse to travel down along the aorta. When the pressure pulse reaches the bifurcation in the lower abdomen, which is where the aorta forks into two to go into the legs, part of the pressure pulse rebounds and starts traveling up the aorta. If in the if in the meantime the heart ejects more blood and a new pressure pulse is traveling down, these two pressures, these two pressure points will eventually collide somewhere along the aorta and produce an interference pattern. By placing the body in a sleep-like state, the gateway tapes achieve the same goal as meditation in that it places the body in such a profoundly relaxed state that the bifurcation echo slowly fades away as the heart lessens the force and frequency with which it pushes blood into the aorta. The result is a regular, rhythmic sine wave pattern of sound which echoes through the body and rises up into the head in sustained resonance. The amplitude of this sine wave pattern, sinew wave, sine wave, sinew wave. I don't know. I'm gonna keep reading. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. The amplitude of this sinew wave pattern, when measured with the sensitive seismograph type instrument, is about 3 times the average of the sound volume produced by the heart when it is operating normally. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna keep reading for a little bit. Number 9, brain stimulation. Bentov's biomedical model shows that this resonance is of considerable importance since it is directly transmitted to and impacts upon the brain. The resulting vibration is received and transmitted into the brain itself via the fluid filled third and left ventricles located above the brain stem. An electromagnetic pulse is then generated, which stimulates the brain to raise the amplitude and frequency of brainwave output, just as Dr. Timlow observed in his research on the effects of the Hemi-Sync tape, of the Hemi-Sync tapes. So that fluid, everybody know what that fluid is by now, right? That fluid that fills those the ventricles, those part of the brain, we've been talking about it. People that they'll call it the chrism, the Christ oil, right? Or the sacred secreted fluid. It's the cerebral spinal fluid, which is secreted from the claustrum in the brain, right? Go back in the community section and look over those videos. That's why I start posting. I said we gotta pair this with a little bit of AMP to help remove completely all the spookiness from this and what's really happening in our bodies. Okay. Also, the brain is contained in a 4-type membrane called the dura, which is in turn cushioned by a thin layer of fluid located between it and the skull. As the coherent resonance produced by the human heart in a state of profound relaxation reaches the fluid layer surrounding the brain, it sets up a rhythmic pattern in which the brain waves in which the brain moves up and down approximately 0.005 to 0.010 millimeters in a continuous pattern. The self-reinforcing character of resonant behavior accounts for the body's ability to sustain this movement despite the minimal level of energy involved. In this way, the entire body, based on its own micro motion, functions as a tuned vibrational system which transfers energy in a range of between 6.8 and 7.5 hertz into the Earth's ionospheric cavity, which itself resonates about 7 to 7.5 hertz. Of this process, Bentov states, quote, this is occurring at a very long wavelength, about 40,000, I think that's kilometers, it's km. I might have that wrong in regards to the brain, but it's 40,000 km, or just about it's kilometers, about 40,000 km, or just about the perimeter of the planet. In other words, the signal from the movement of our bodies will travel around the world in about 1/7 of a second through the electrostatic field in which we are embedded. Such a long wavelength knows no obstacles, and its strength does not attenuate, hold on, attenuate, and its strength does not attenuate much over large distances. Naturally, it will go through just about anything: metal, concrete, water, and the fields making up our bodies. It is the ideal medium for conveying a telepathic signal. Oh, Alicia, yeah, the nurse is in the building. Y'all hear me talk about my sister, Jen Shalom MP. Anybody, you know what? They're talking about these, and I'm kind of going back and forth, but I'm gonna address everything I was just trying to say. MP, the links to the gateway tapes, I don't know that they're available, but essentially what they're talking about is binaural beats. I looked into it a little bit. When they first started creating it, they called them like the focus tapes, and they labeled them 1, 2, 3. But we label them today as binaural beats. That's what it is, and you can find a lot of it online. But here is my disclaimer about the binaural beats. If you don't know how to make the beats yourself. Now, my son Jeremiah has this whole look. He been kind of working with beats and stuff. He been kind of off of it a little bit, but he plays around with beats and frequencies on this thing that he has. So until he gets it down, because I trust what comes out of his spirit, right? It comes out of me. We teaching him. We know he ain't got no underhanded stuff that's gonna go into his stuff. But I would recommend, right, that you research who you're getting your binaural beats from. We just want to make sure it's not somebody with nefarious motives with their music, and putting in things, embedding things inside of those binaural beats that could end up harming you, right? Because I'm gonna tell you, when you begin to use them, it will change your brain waves, right? You're going to go from beta to theta, meaning you're going to be in a more relaxed state, or hypnotized, so to speak, if you want to call it hypnotized, or it'll help you get into that deeper meditative state. When you get there, whatever's playing or whatever's being spoken over those binaural beats will go right into the right side of your brain, right? So here's what I would recommend. Now, you can only be hypnotized, so to speak, or put into that meditative state of your, some people can do it from their will and override your will. But if you're looking for some, right, and they got some good ones on YouTube. You can buy some, but just check into the source of who created them, right? That's my disclaimer, right? And before you actually use it in your meditation, listen to it without being in a position of meditation, so you can listen to it all the way through. Because when you listen, especially the ones that are hours long, and they got some like 10 minutes, especially if you've already been practicing it, you can go into the meditative state in moments. Like literally, you can go there in moments, right? So, but be careful, listen through it, and make sure, because you got some, like you will see them like binaural beats for wealth creation, just different things like that. And into it, you will hear them maybe repeating. There are some good ones, they'll repeat scriptures, right? But some people make up their own string of words and put it in there. But it's those that you have to be careful about. You need to see exactly what they're saying, because you're going to be in a meditative state when that stuff is coming into you. So you have to be absolutely sure what those binaural beats are saying at those times. And it's normally when you get in, right? And they have some that you can listen to all night. People use them all night and they astral project all night, have open visions all night. I'm telling y'all, it works. It does. The way the sound, the beats, it does something to the brain waves inside of your head. So you have to be careful. Don't just pick one and put it on and don't know what you're putting on, right? Just be careful. I would say listen to it all the way through, not in a meditative state, as in like research. Make sure you fully awake and you listen, right? And just listen to the words that are being said. Consciously keep yourself woke while you're listening to it to make sure it's a source. If you want to speed up the process, so to speak, you can. I don't see a problem with it, right? I mean, there is it's help. It's like not necessarily shortcuts, but it's tools to get the job done faster if you're ready for it and if you understand it and know how to use it appropriately. It's like going from a screwdriver to a drill, right? I use them sometime, right? But I'm very particular about what I listen to because I know people are hypnotized and they literally change their whole life doing something crazy. I'm like, yeah, no, not on my watch. So I take my time and I go through stuff. And when I can make them myself, or my son get to it and he can make them, I'm gonna use his. You hear me out here in these streets acting crazy. What's up, brother? Okay. All right, y'all. So can you link the ones that you trust? I'll go through and it's not a lot of binaural beats that I use though. I use sounds, and a lot of time I'll listen to it just to make sure I'm making sure I'm creating that sound out of my own body, and then I'll just use my own sound. You know, I just kind of use them as learning tools. You know, I don't want to have myself addicted to them, right? Because I've seen that as well. Some people kind of get addicted to some of the tools, and we see it a lot of times in the news with with Hollywood stars and musicians and stuff. Like when they start using those things, not that all of the tools are bad, but we normally see on the news the tools that they use that are bad, like the drugs and stuff, right? So you can tap into the spiritual realm with drugs. I don't recommend it. Even if it's marijuana, I don't recommend that you learn how to do it that way, right? People take shortcuts and they use it, but if they don't learn how to produce that serotonin and melatonin and all that stuff within themselves, and they constantly go to these tools that cause you to take fire within your chest, all these things, the smoke and stuff, you're going to get addicted to it, right? You're getting addicted to something that your body already naturally produces. And if you don't understand that, you're going to stop the natural flow of what your body produces, and it's going to latch onto that. That's how people get addicted to those substances. Think about Michael Jackson. Y'all rest his soul, right? If you learn about some of the things that Michael Jackson was doing, he was going under, for lack of a better term, under hypnosis. He had a doctor that he was using. There are a lot of people that use this. They use drugs, or they get hypnotized, or they get put into this deep state of meditation so they can pull genius songs out of the universe or out of the ether or get these downloads. But then they get addicted to it, right? And before they get in, or before they can operate, they got to get in this state just to pull something out of there. You can do that, but that is not the way that I recommend you do that. And a lot of people don't like to do the work that it takes to naturally get there and be able to flow and operate without these outside addictions. Yeah, my sister here, that's what I said. I'm gonna come back to my sister. Hey girl, hey. She said, yep, he did that with Thriller. We did a little bit of researching on Michael Jackson and some of the things and the different artists and what was happening. Now I really, back then when we was looking at some of the stuff, I didn't understand it like I understand it today and what was happening and why you get addicted to some of these things, right? So, but yeah, he did that with Thriller. And a lot of times these big big sellers and stuff, when you find out how they really got it, they're tapping into something that mainstream media teaches you, oh, it's bad, and they show you all the bad side effects and stuff, but they're showing you the side effects of like the Kunda buffer, so to speak, or the bad side of this, which the bad side of this is Kunda buffer, to where you hear it in the East as Kundalini, which is actually like the healthy natural flow of things, or it's the natural energy that flows through us, or the spirit of Yah that's poured out upon us That's like the good side of it. But the negative effects that you get is because you entered into that realm the wrong way. Unauthorized access. You got access, but now you got to deal with some of those things that come along with coming in through the back door, right? Especially if you weren't legally let in. Like, you're gonna still get in, but what you're going to experience and the addictions you're going to create when you go in that way are there. That's something I just don't want to deal with. That's why I tell y'all, stay away from those things. Absolutely stay away from it. But we're going to demystify it, show you exactly what it is, so we stay on the right path and we go the right way, so we don't have to worry about those things. And you'll be, as you begin to learn about it, you will begin to spot people who have accessed things illegally, right? It's a sad state of affairs. But my sister, she's a nurse. So I learned a lot of stuff. Some things I check with her because she's actually working in a nursing field, right? So she's able to explain stuff to me in ways that's not violating like the Hippocratic Oath and everything, by giving me general like understandings of things, and to make sure I'm getting it right. So she's really good for that. So some of these things that I'm learning on my own, I kind of double check. Okay, medical field, what is this, and so I'm making sure I'm staying on track, right, and not getting too spooky about stuff, right? So she's like, nope, this is called this is when we learned about the chakras, was literally what the West calls the endocrine system, and the energies associated with each organ along the spine. Each organ creates an energy, right? It does something. When it's out of whack, your pancreas get out of whack, you're gonna feel it in the energy in your entire body. My G, is going to go out of alignment because something is wrong with that energy center. Chakra means wheel. It's like it's a wheel of energy, or it's the energy source. The source of your energy for that right there is your organs, and all of your main organs go along your spine. It's an energy wheel, and the energies flow up. One energy affects the next. If something is wrong up here, that means something down here has gotten off, because they began to affect one another, right? So you can't just go work on this. Like, if something is wrong with your heart, if something is wrong with your heart, there's probably something wrong with your gut, right? So you got to go all the way back down your chakra, check every chakra, or every energy center, or every organ that goes along your spine, that causes this cerebral spinal fluid that flows from your brain to go through and come back up. And when it hit the vagus nerve, it hits all the organs along that spine. It once you, like I said, once you understand it medically, you can really begin to understand it spiritually and what they're saying, because the religious factions, they just like to use the spiritual terms because it sounds more spiritual, but not really teaching you a lot of times that each of those spiritual principles are attached to a natural thing, just like our spirits that you can't see, like the chakras or the energies that you can't see. It's identified by something we can see. You can tell I got a spirit because I got a moving, operating body, my G. That's from the Most High. Yes, that's a principle. Although it's not written in the Torah, we can see it. If we take the blinders off, if the spells are broken, everything that we fight against is in plain sight in our faces every day, all day. You can't see my spirit, but you can tell I got a spirit. You can't see my spirit, but you can tell I have a spirit. You can tell those who don't have a spirit. This body is lifeless and it no longer moves. It doesn't operate any of the energy centers that's still present. And we can cut your body open and see none of the energy from those organs are alive any longer. I'm just saying. So let's read this brain stimulation number 9, and we're gonna pause. Oh no, we was about done with that. We're gonna go read number 10. Let me see. Let me go back and repeat what Bentov states. Of this process, we're talking about the brain stimulation. Bentov states this is occurring at a very long wavelength of about 40,000 kilometers, or just about the perimeter of the planet. In other words, the signal from the movement of our bodies will travel around the world in about 1/7 of a second through the electrostatic field in which we are embedded. Such a long wavelength knows no obstacles, and its strength does not attenuate much over large distances. Naturally, It will go through just about anything: metal, concrete, water, and the fields making up our bodies. It is the ideal medium for conveying a telepathic signal. Consequently, the gateway process is designed to rather rapidly induce the state of profound calm within the nervous system and to significantly lower blood pressure to cause the circulatory system, skeleton, and all other physical organ systems to begin vibrating coherently at approximately 7 to 7.5 cycles per second. The resulting resonance sets up a regular, repetitive sound wave which propagates in consonance with the electrostatic field of the earth. Number 10 is energy entrainment. As the body is turned into a coherent oscillator vibrating in harmony with the surrounding electrostatic medium, the specific exercises included in the gateway tapes enjoin the participant to build up the energy field surrounding his body, presumably by using energy from the earth's field, which the body is now in training because of its ability to resonate with it. And this puts the body's energy field into homogeneity with its surrounding environment and promotes movement of the seat of consciousness into the surrounding environment, partly in response to the fact that the two electromagnetic mediums are now a single energy continuum. Or you can simply take off your when you take off your shoes outside and go stand in the dirt or stand in the grass, you are connecting your energy to the earth's energy, right? We're electric beings. Our body, there's electricity flowing through us, but the earth also has electricity flowing through it. So when you ground yourself, right, there's like a continue, what he said, it's a let me read it again. This puts the body's energy field into homogeneity with its surrounding environment and promotes movement of the seat of consciousness into the surrounding environment, partly in response to the fact that the two electromagnetic mediums are now a single energy continuum, meaning we're in contact, we're touching one another. Thus, the same process which moves the brain into focused coherence at steadily higher levels of frequency and amplitude so as to entrain analogous frequencies in the universe for data collection, also promotes enhancement of bodily energy levels to a point adequate to permit the subject to experience an out of body movement when he is ready to do so. More will be said about this topic later. In addition, by resonating with the Earth's electromagnetic sphere, the human body creates a surprisingly powerful carrier wave to assist the mind in communication activity with other human minds similarly attuned. Read that again. In addition, by resonating with the Earth's electromagnetic sphere, the human body creates a surprisingly powerful carrier wave to assist the mind in communication activity with other human minds similarly attuned, right? And that's how people are able to start practicing what they call ESP, right? Like everything I realize now, everything that we are using here in the earth today is because we're ignorant on how to operate our bodies, right? So they're coming out, and it's you can slowly see, if you're paying attention, if you understand this, you can slowly see that they are trying to progress humankind or the human race back to this level of awareness or of consciousness to where, like, if you really understood how to use your body, you could communicate telepathically, right? Now I haven't done it on a large scale. I haven't done it on a large scale, but I have tested it. And this is something like, I don't know, I just kind of grew up just thinking we kind of had like superpowers that we would one day come into. Like I just kind of grew up like this. And now that I got a house full of kids, like 5 boys and a girl. Like every so often, Josiah, my 9-year-old, he was like, "So mom, when are we gonna get our superpowers?" I'm like, "Boy, who told you we was gonna get superpowers?" Like the first time he said that, but I'm like, you know what? I don't know, but that'd be really freaking cool, Saya. I don't know. Let me find out about this, and I'm gonna let y'all know. But what I used to practice before they even came along, when we only still had two, when we still just had Elijah and Jeremiah, we were staying at the same house. Remember how I told y'all I was able to hear the conversation that my son and his friend, after they had got off the school bus, who were like a whole block away, they was talking in normal language to one another. I was all the way at the end of the block standing on my porch. Things like that I've experienced. So by experiencing little things like that, and like I heard their conversation, and by the time they got to the porch, I said, "So what did you need to tell me?" Because his friend at the end of the block, he said to him, he said, and they were what's like seven, 7 to 8, maybe 8 and 9 years old. It was having a conversation like kids do. You can't normally hear a child's conversation from down the block when they talking to each other. They're not yelling, regular conversation. So you can tell your mom what happened. And I'm standing there and I could hear the rest of the conversation, but I was focusing in. I'm trying to figure out what it is he had to tell me because the bus was late and there was an incident. So by the time they got to the end of the block and got to the porch, I said, "So what did you have to tell me?" And he just looked at me like, and that's when I saw his teeth was missing and I went off. But things like that, little small things that I noticed was happening in my life. And so I would think about it and I would try and practice it. So when Elijah would be outside playing in the neighborhood with his friends, and it was a little safer then than it is now. Like I went there, like any of my younger kids today do the things that I let Elijah and Jeremiah do. Like you go play in the neighborhood, bro. You can go a couple blocks over because I knew where you were going, and I trusted that you could walk over there safely and get back safely, right? At 10 and 11 years old. But what would happen, and without fail, every time I would do it, you can call it ESP or communicating telepathically with them. But if I would go outside and I was ready for him to come into the house if it was getting late, or maybe not late, or if I needed to go somewhere, he was outside playing, I would go outside and I would walk to the end of the block just to see. I wouldn't like holler his name or anything. And as I'd be walking to the house, I would simply say, I would say, "Elijah, come home." Elijah would be home within 10 max 15 minutes. And I began to notice. So I just kind of began to use it when they was out. When I was ready for them to come in, I'd call their name. I said, "Come home." They didn't have cell phones. They were kids outside playing. I would practice some of these things, but now I'm finding out this stuff. I'm like, yo, I knew it was something to it and I knew it would work. But at that point, I'm just like, the Holy Spirit is telling them it's time to come home. And they kids, they're more open to the spirit of Yah. So they hear it, they just get this inner knowing to come home. But it would always work. So I would always use it. But now I'm realizing what's going on. I'm like, holy crap. You can still say, "Shy, okay, yeah, use it." However you term it, it works, right? So those are the type of things. And now that I'm getting some understanding of the science behind it, right? And actually being in tune. And this is talking about what he said it says, "In addition, by resonating with the Earth's electromagnetic sphere, the human body creates a surprisingly powerful carrier wave to assist the mind in communication activity with other human minds similarly attuned," right? It's easy to communicate with children when you do stuff like that, which is also a blessing and a curse for nefarious people as well, right? Because they take that information and they play upon children with it, right? That burns me up. It gets my blood boiling, if there was such a thing, right? If I could make their blood boil and send their spirit back to the Creator, tell them to try it again. They down here cutting up. I would. But I'm just saying there are some things, and they call it, we talked about it before, as you become more in tune and you begin and you realize these things are happening, and you can cause things to happen at will, or in the East, like we talk about, they call them cities or superpowers or whatever, just to kind of get you on a mind frame. But they're not really superpowers. It's really a science behind it that you may not understand, but if you do, you can do it on purpose, and you can walk in it, and you can live in it, and you are deemed to be a supernatural person, or i.e. a Messiah, to other people who have no clue. who don't operate in it, who choose not to. Right? I'm okay right here. You just gonna feed me and I eat what you feed me. No, bruh. I want to teach you how to teach others how to do this. Because I ain't gonna be here always to feed you. What's gonna happen when nobody's there to feed you and you ain't got no more fish to eat? You gonna die? Well, I want to teach you how to fish yourself, my G. I'm gonna teach you how to do this. So this is why I share so much information and try and share my stories along with it to kind of bring it down to our level, like our level, things that you can resonate with, like everyday life experiences I've been experiencing as I go on this journey to daily as I'm growing, right? And so, and this, it's just amazing, right? I'm like, yeah, teach me, just like on Doctor Strange when he realized, wait a minute, it's more than just book knowledge. We can actually experience this another whole realm and become more efficient. Teach me, right? Like seriously, I did that when I started figuring this stuff. I'm like, teach me. Like I literally turned to the east. I said, teach me. Like, what are we doing? Like, I'm gonna be at this door every day because I know what's more to this. I've been getting a little glimpse. I was like, I ain't going to. Hey, I'm here bright and early. Hey, it's Pam again. Hey, oh most holy Father, gracious one. Yes, it's me. Teach me. I want to know. They can do this. I know I can do this. Hey, I'm gonna sit right here. What? Yep. She's still sitting out. She sure is. I'm right here. What you want me to? Oh, hey. Okay, I got my book. I'm ready. What you know what? Just tell me. Just yell it through the door. I'm here. Right. And so that's where I began to have dreams about stuff, and it's showing me to go look at certain things. Right. It's like the information that's right here. You have to be able to see the information that's right here, right in front of your face, before you can even begin to fathom the other things that's not so obvious, right? So now y'all was like pointing me to the obvious things. Daughter, just learn about your body. Look at your body. Learn about how energy moves through your body. So as I started learning about how energy moves, naturally you run into the chakra talk, right? So I'm like, oh, yep, they told us to stay away from that. Go look at it. They told us to stay away from it. Go look at it. Yeah, it's demonic. Go look at it. I'm like, nope. And so I stay away from it. Nope, it's of the devil. Listen, girl, I create good and I create evil. Yeah, but it's the chakras. They told us, who you gonna listen to, them or me? Well, you. But they said it was demonic. I don't do the devils. I don't do them. So nope. So that's why it took me so long. Because I'm like, no, that's demonic. That's esoteric. It's occultic. We stay away from stuff like that. And I was fighting against the process. And y'all, and I'm like, teach me. Okay, girl, go look at this. It ain't so scary. Just there is no boogeyman there, Pam. So that's why you're hearing me talking about the boogeyman. There is no boogeyman at the door, y'all. And I'm trying to show y'all there's no boogeyman at the door. So yes, Key, Moontu, Kiku, you star 87. You had the same combo. Yo, it becomes such a process that frees you up. And it's like your communication with y'all, or let me say it this way, your ability to hear y'all. It gets so much clearer, so much faster. And it's like you can begin to see the own growth in your life. I'm like, yes, we on the right road here. Let's keep going. All right, y'all. So with that being said, we're gonna pause right here. We had an hour 38 minutes. And we ended at number 10. Energy. Sorry. Hold on. Did I start reading this? Oh, I be talking so much. Hold on. I'll just start at 10 tomorrow. All right. So we're gonna be, let me see if I can highlight this and mark this. Energy entrainment. So I'll lose my spot. Number 10. All right, y'all. So we're gonna pick this back up tomorrow. Energy entrainment. But what I am gonna do, I'm gonna still be sharing some more stuff with y'all in the community section. What I've been learning. Just you ain't gotta believe me. Just go check into it for yourself, y'all. Y'all gotta stop being so scared to go look at stuff. And I'm saying that from personal experience of being the scariest person on the earth, right? So go check into stuff, right? If you got to go with a flashlight and back out, look, yeah, Talay, you ain't the only one that said that. Like little bits of truth, it keeps you going on just a little bit longer. She said, I feel like since I I feel like I started to receive so many more blessings since I started to call him Yah, right? And it changed. Like I spoke about that. It's like Yah doesn't necessarily drop you right into the middle of the ocean of truth because we couldn't handle it. It would kill us. That's why he takes us through steps. It's like we have one awakening. Oh, his name wasn't Jesus. Oh, his name was Yeshua. Okay. It's like, although you're still not there, you're moving, right? You're moving. And so that's why I can see people moving, and it does my heart well, even though I don't agree with half the stuff they say now, but I've been there. I can see them moving. Like one particular person, granted, I think she still got shenanigans going on her channel. She chasing clout using famous names of people that have nothing to do with the kingdom of heaven, so to speak, but you get build up of followers on your channel by calling out famous people names and prophecies that you got for famous people. It's a lot of people in Israel doing that. Stop it. Y'all ain't speaking to you every single day, right? Why isn't he speaking to you about growing, getting closer, telling people stuff about people off up in the world and they singing careers? You have been put on my list of shenaniganizers. Stop it, y'all. All right. I guess they like the fast growth of their channels and stuff. So they always got to put somebody's name. And I see men and women doing it. They got to put famous people names in there. And I ain't gonna call none of their names because I don't even want the algorithm to start linking my video with their shenanigans. But you can go look at some of the church people or even some of the Hebrews and how they have some famous people, well-known famous people in the titles of their videos, and they talking about them and they got a prophecy from God about these people. But y'all ain't telling you about your life. Somebody you don't even know, you probably never come in contact with, he telling you about them. What's the purpose of that? Come on, people. I didn't fall off a turnip truck yesterday. I really didn't. Like, and people, I'm just like, y'all got to see through these shenanigans. Y'all got to see through these shenanigans. And I don't care how blessed and highly favored of the Lord you think they are and how anointed they are. People, y'all are completely sleeping. You gotta look at some of the results and some of the things that's actually being produced from some of the stuff that they're putting out, and it's not lining up to what we're supposed to be focusing on. It's actually taking you in the opposite direction, keeping you locked inside of shenanigans and being asleep. Tanya 3000, shalom, shalom. You welcome, Joy. Yeah, so but yeah, we start that. We notice the progression as we begin to wake up and go from, like the church say, from glory to glory. Here a little, there a little. We wake up in stages, and when you think you're woke, it's like, oh my gosh, I thought I was woke, I'm still asleep. And it's like the rabbit hole gets even deeper. I'm like, holy crap. It's like you wake up in stages, and it has to be that way. Otherwise, it would literally it would literally almost kill you because you couldn't handle the vast amounts of truth. Some things you don't even know exist that you're operating in, but you would be so blinded to it will scare you so. Like, some people would literally take their last breaths by coming into absolute truth overnight. It can't happen. It absolutely cannot happen that way. Growth does not happen that way. Y'all teachers, like, even by the growth of everything on the earth before our face, to teach us this. You can't feed a baby meat out of the womb. You're gonna choke them to death, right? He'll be able to eat meat, or not like flesh, but even that too. But you can't do that. Even fruits and vegetables in a solid state, even you would have to first, before a baby can actually, first of all, he ain't ready for growth yet because he ain't got teeth. There are signs and indications that should let us know when you're ready for growth, or not to awaken love right here because you're not ready for it. This is not the time for love. Don't awaken it before it's time. It's not time for that. And if we're taught about that, the truths right in front of our face, with the world we live in, the way our bodies grow, the way we develop, come from the womb and grow in stages, we will understand spiritual things a whole lot better. Yah has set all these things in this way in front of our face, something tangible we can see and test with our hands to help us better understand spiritual principles. Y'all, so that's it. I done ran my mouth enough for the day. Joy, you're welcome. But yeah, it's amazing, and it's the journey that's really enjoyable. So you can actually see your progress and the progress of others as you go from glory to glory, or stage of being woke to another stage of being woke to another stage of being awake. Like there, over these last few years, I can see the different stages and places I was to where I thought I was woke. But then I realized when I got to this next stage, holy crap, I was still asleep. And then you get to this next stage, when am I really gonna wake up? Like, what? What? Right? So it's like, but it's amazing. I enjoy it. Thailand said, oh my gosh, it's amazing. It really is. The process of waking up and growing. It is absolutely amazing. Yay, Saf, you missed some of it. I know you did, bro. No, I'm gonna leave you alone. I'll be like, sometimes I'll be watching, I come back and I watch your comments. Sometimes like, oh, Yasaf is gonna be my problem child. Like he's gonna be a thorn in my side. I'm just being honest with you. I'm like, okay, we're gonna keep on going. But you know, I was like that. I was doing things like that because I didn't understand. And when you miss kind of like the in between, I really learned to look at things and I try to, if at all possible, I don't know everything. I'm still learning myself. I'm just sharing y'all the little bit that I'm learning in the hopes that it'll make your journey, your process a little bit more easy, just in case you run into these same things, right? So, but I learned how to, when people ask me questions, I stopped looking at them like criticisms, but I started looking at them in like, even if people aren't being sincere, but I know Yesaf is, even if they aren't, there are people that aren't, I tend to choose to look at it like they're being sincere and they're asking me a question that they really don't understand. So I'll explain it to them, not in a condescending manner, but I really try and break it down like I understand things, because I have to break it down like I'm in kindergarten. Teach this to me like you would teach this to my child, right? Don't give me big words and stuff. Like really help me to bare bones, ground floor, understand this thing, right? And then as we understand it, we can use big words. But I really need to know the ins and outs of this without being super spiritual and crazy and all this stuff, right? So that's just my approach on life with everything. And I think having a billion kids helps to refine my process. That's an exaggeration. I only got 6. My husband trying to work on 7 and 8. I'm like, listen, I'm about to be 43 years old. That's another 2-year commitment attached to my body. And I don't know that I want it right now. We on the path. We learning things. I don't know. Another child in tow, which would technically it would be a blessing, because now I'm a little bit more refined and coming right out the womb. Right out the womb, we can begin preparing you. And from the time you open your eyes and get here, bro, we know why you here. Let's go. Right? So all you're going to know is truth. From the time you open your eyes and you get here, let's go. Send more. Let's go. All right, y'all. I'm done. I'm done. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and Bella. She came down here. Sis be ignoring me. She like, look, you talk too much, Mom. Let's do this. So y'all, it is Thursday, January the 13th, 2022. Day, hold on. Did I put it? I said it. Yeah, day 3 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 4-year consecutive day count, excuse me, it's day 1021. We read Genesis 7, 8, and 9, and then we read a little bit more of the C.I.A. document that they released. So the title is going to be like the same title. It's going to be half of the same title, but it's going to be C.I.A. document part 2. All right, you ready?
No, my foot.
Okay. And so, but when we get to the last day that we read this, I'm going to put whatever part it is. So say if it's, let's say it's C.I.A. document part 10. After part 10, I'll put in parentheses the last day. That way, if somebody want to come back and look at it or not sure if this is the last one, I'll make sure that last day is in there, right? So clearly everybody knows that first day is the first day, but day 10, if it's the last day, I'll make sure I put day 10, last day, so just for future references, if you care. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and do the blessing. To the baby, you here? You ready?
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Hold on.
Mom, I need lipstick.
Carmex lipstick.
Guess what? I actually put some lipstick and I actually washed it off.
Yeah. She got this little
No, your lipstick.
My lipstick. Girl, where you find lipstick? I probably only got like 1 or 2. I hardly ever
You got one.
You was in the bathroom going through that bag, weren't you? Yeah, no, I got one. I don't really like lipstick. I like natural. If I put some on, it'll be like really, really light. And it's only when
Mom.
me and hubby had a date
Mom.
night. But he don't like it
Mom,
anyway,
look.
especially if he want to kiss me. I don't
Mom.
want that crap on my face. Take it off. Like, but babe, I'm cute. You already got me. Who you need to be cute for? I mean, I'm being cute for you, but he's like, take it off your lips, Pam. Put on lip gloss. I'm like, okay. All right, y'all. Let me quit being silly. All right.
Mommy, you guys have on my lips.
Oh, I thought you said you already. All right, sis. Here you go, huh? We gotta open up the new one. I be trying to get the leg, huh? Take this, girl. Look. Put it on. Okay. All right, y'all. Let me pull this up. All right. Look, y'all. Don't be if y'all supposed to be at work. Don't be getting in trouble because y'all here listen to me run my mouth.
Mom.
Especially if y'all work for somebody else. Remember,
Mommy,
this is recorded.
Mom.
You can always come back. Yes, baby.
Mom.
Yes.
Lucia in here.
Aunt Leisha. Yeah, she's here. Hold on.
And Nani.
Yes, Nani is here. Aunt Leisha's over here. And Nani is over here.
Where is her?
Oh, I got to pull it up. I got all kinds of stuff saved in my documents that I want to share with y'all.
Is her?
I gotta bring it out in phases. Do like the slow time release of different stuff. I'm trying to time it right with what we're reading.
Lucia.
Aunt Leisha is over here. Hold on, let me see. There she go. Right there.
Two?
Aunt Leisha. Mm-hmm.
And why her got a cry?
Well, it's a laughing face. Yeah. Okay, y'all. The blessing. Carol. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, y'all. All right. Let's do this, girl. People gotta get out here. Okay.
Let me go.
The blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yahuwah will kneel before us, presenting gifts, and will guard us with a hedge of protection. Yahuwah will illuminate the wholeness of his being towards us, bringing order, and he will provide us with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yahuwah will lift up his wholeness of being and look upon us, and he will set in place all we need to be whole and complete. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people.
We did this.
Well, no, we did do that, but that's just the King James version of what
we
just
did
read.
up here?
Yes, we did this one right here. Yep.
Not these ones?
We did that, but we just used different words, but we essentially did the same thing.
We did the hot ones?
Mm-hmm. Yep, the hot ones. Oh, Linda. Okay, well, you can whistle while you work, Linda. Probably got the headphones in. Bless y'all. All right, Nani said, hello, Bella. All right, everybody.
Hi,
enjoy
Nani.
your day. Shalom, shalom. Love y'all. I see y'all back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. All right, Sweetie baby. Go ahead. Take them out.
I just need to put it on the screen.
You need to put it on the screen first, okay? You see Nani, she blew you kisses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is it.
No, not that. You're going to kill the whole thing, and we still going to have to come back because it's still going to be rolling. Okay. Right here. The green one. Right there.
I know.
Yep. There you go. Okay, there you go. Shalom, shalom, joy. Okay. All right, y'all. We out here. Yeah. You took it off the screen, but YouTube is still there. Hold on. That's not how you end it. It's still here.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Let me go back.
Okay, you wanna end them first? Oh, you just got them looking at the ceiling.
Yeah, I just did the same time.
Okay, bye Facebook.
One.
Salama Ki Muntu Kikuyu Star 87. Yep, hit post. Post.
Yes.